It's Kattalestv. Wearing my Free Tory shirt. The Diddy trial doesn't surprise me. There are too many powerful people connected to Diddy that are also above Diddy that there's no way that they would be charged. And I don't know how long Diddy's gonna get, but he has some very powerful people that he has probably compromised, and also I believe there's a larger organization that keeps people in check. So I guess in a way I'm glad I didn't cover the Diddy trial, and I didn't go to New York to cover it because, you know, it was all a show and probably a diversion to help Trump do whatever he's doing to this country. I live in LA, if you guys don't know, and it has been a clusterfuck. This year has started off with fires, Trump getting into office, threatening to withhold money to California, and it's just been one huge challenge after the other. I know there was something else going on, but I forgot. But now, of course, they have ICE running around, the new Gestapo. If you don't know what Gestapo is, you need to study German history and Nazism. But long story short, they're running around LA and different parts of California, like Bell Gardens, mostly immigrant-dense communities, to threaten and intimidate people. And sometimes they're picking up actual American citizens and people who are on their way to getting citizenship, and they're just terrorizing them. And now they're bragging about an alligator Alcatraz. You know, I lived in Germany a while back, and I remember having a conversation with someone there, and I said, how did Nazi Germany happen? And he said to me, if you were there, you probably would have done it too. And I just felt so sickened with that. And now, living in America, knowing that they're literally using Hitler's playbook, in a weird way, I'm not really surprised, because I talk to people from different walks of life, and I had a conversation with someone at the beach last weekend, and he was bragging about bombing people in Vietnam, and he had allegedly high security clearance, and it was a long story, but I was talking to a friend of mine, and then I was talking to my friend, I overheard that that man say that they had drones back in the 70s and the 60s. So a lot of the technology that we see now, they already had, the Army had. So he was saying that, and I said to my friend, I'm like, did you hear what he said? He said that they had drones in the late 1960s, the Army had. And I was like fascinated, and that's how I got drawn into that conversation. And while he was bragging about bombing people and the technical skill of the military, I was asking him, so what do you think about Trump and Pete Hegseth? And he gave me a funny look, and he was like, well, I think they're doing a great job. And do you know that those military planes or bombers, like, literally came from America and went to the target site and was like fueled in air, and how magnificent that was. Like, literally he was repeating full stop, what Pete Hegseth was trying to do during his press conference. And I was just like weirded out. I'm like, Pete Hegseth is a drunk. And he has no experience running the military. And you're okay with these men that have never really served in the military. Trump was a draft dodger. I didn't even bring that up, but the point was, I'm like, you're okay with these men running the military in these crucial times? And he was like, yes. And I was like, oh God. And what's slightly not even astonishing anymore, but you'd be surprised how many people think like this guy does. He thinks that bombing people is a great thing, and he did it for his country, and he feels like he did a great job, but he doesn't understand that majority of the military campaigns America does is for its own benefit and to steal resources from other countries, and he's okay with that. But I feel like there's a lot of people who are just psychopaths in this country, genetically psychopaths, historically psychopaths, and they've never got under their reptilian brain. But that's what we're dealing with. So part of me is like, America has fallen, and a part of me is like, I don't care, because on January 6th, 2021, that was it. When I saw what those insurrectionists did to the Capitol, a majority of them, 99.9%, were Caucasians, I realized America had fallen to such an extent that anybody around the world could look at America and say, this is a great time to hit America, because they let their own people attack the Capitol and beat up police. So now some of those same insurrectionists that were pardoned by Trump, who beat up police, are now dressing up in ICE costumes. They can get off of Amazon. You can literally buy a patch and masquerade as a police officer. Some of them have probably been deputized, but regardless of which, they're not professionals. They are the brown shirts. And if you don't know what the brown shirts are, read up on Nazi history. That's the other thing. A lot of Americans are really dumb, and they don't know history, and they don't care. That's the biggest issue. They do not care. They do not read. They don't care about facts. They've been brainwashed to be interested in that TikTok 5-second, 15-second attention span, and they don't realize they've been manipulated to do that. So moving on to what happened with the Diddy trial, it's the same thing. It's a lot of shock and awe, a lot of theatrics, and it also reminds me of Jeffrey Epstein when I went to New York in 2019 and was covering that weirdness, because he happened to die while I was in New York. And I went to his house and I filmed it, and I was talking to the neighbors, and I was talking to the people that worked on the street, and they were telling me very interesting things. But people knew that Epstein was doing for years. A lot of the concierge in the high level hotels, because I was also covering the US Open, they were telling me that they knew Jeffrey and that he tipped well. So people care about their own interests. They don't care about people being trafficked. They don't care about slavery. They don't care about children being R-word. They don't care. It's all about what's in it for them. So that follows with the Diddy thing. It follows with the Epstein thing. It follows with the Trump thing. The morality of this country is trash. They call themselves Christians, but they're also the same Christians that have incestuous relationships and are doing really bad stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm just like riding this roller coaster of hell here. I don't have much hope for democracy, not with the people involved, because they don't care. I believe they're a cult. They're a cult of people that decided to make up their own religion, and they militarized it, and they abuse people because they think they're chosen. But I just feel like they're mentally ill. But America has fallen in the eyes of the world, and it's not the bastion of democracy, and it's not the bastion of free speech, because they are controlling communications on all social media platforms. If you go against what the most powerful person or companies are saying, they are hindering your ability to communicate with other people. That's what all these big social media companies are about, is surveillance. But that also goes back to Tory in regards to how Rock Nation has controlled the narrative from the jump. And one of the things I wanted to say on some of the sessions that happened last night, there was a session that happened last night, it's July 4th. My microphone wasn't working on the platform, so I wasn't able to talk, which is another thing. A lot of people are having trouble communicating on those platforms for whatever reasons, but these people have been doing these kind of things, controlling the media, controlling the narrative, exploiting every legal option. They've been doing it for decades. Alex Spiro is one of the top lawyers in the country, if not the world, and he also represents Elon Musk and a lot of very high-profile people besides Jay-Z. So he has access to some of the most powerful researchers as well, and assistants to help him manipulate the game. Plus he has extremely powerful connections. And I just found out that he was on the same gondola as Corey Gamble during the Jeff Bezos wedding. They have a photograph of him and Corey Gamble on the same gondola or water taxi. Probably called a water taxi because it was bigger. But these people run in the same circle. So allegedly, Alex Spiro said that, or I'm sorry, it may not have been Alex Spiro, it might have been Alex Bott, but he said during the Tory Lanez trial that Corey Gamble was going to testify, which he didn't. Also, people were giving out rumors that Kylie Jenner was going to testify, which she didn't. Now, when you find out that Alex Spiro and Corey Gamble are running in the same circles, and also Alex Spiro, I believe, represented the Kardashians at some point, you think they were going to have a fair trial for Tory? It was set up from the beginning to control the narrative to get Tory taken away. And Tory believed in the system that it was so obvious that he didn't do it that he was going to be found not guilty. And the sad thing is, you don't know about this country or the legal way this country works until unfortunately you're in it, and then you realize that it's flawed. It is a game of picking the jurors. Also, there's backroom deals you know nothing about. There's relationships you know nothing about. There's objectives and businesses that you know nothing about that are in league with each other. I'm more of a realist. My heart's been broken so many times when it comes to this legal system and how America runs that I don't know if I don't care anymore in regards to believing in this country, but it's like being in an abusive relationship and you're seeing someone continuously lie to you and abuse you and still want you to play along. At a point, you don't want to play along anymore. So in regards to the Tory Lanez issue, everybody that is for his release, you need to start thinking strategically. You need to start understanding military books like The Art of War by Sun Tzu. And there's a bunch of other great books that would probably help, but I really can't think of something else besides The Art of War. But The Art of War was written thousands of years ago. But military experts have still used it to this day because it's brilliant. It's a philosophical book about strategy. But Strategy is extremely important, and there is no leader in this. It needs to have multiple people doing different things that they're gifted at to keep putting out the information. And one of the great things that they're doing on the sessions on X is like Miss KK. She reads the transcripts, and she's a very good reader. She has a very pleasant voice. She should do voiceover, by the way. But when you hear it, you start understanding how crazy that case was and how corrupt it was. So some people are good at reading the transcripts. Some people are good at investigating, like physically investigating. Like that's what I've been doing in LA. I literally went to Sean Kelly's house like 10 times at least because I was so compelled to help, because it was such a travesty of injustice. I mean, travesty of justice. I couldn't, it was driving me like nuts. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I wish I had people helping me when I was in a situation in the way that but I ended up doing most of the shit myself for the thing that happened to me. But long story short is even as a victim of a violent crime, I would never want someone else to be in the situation I was in, when you have very powerful people using TMZ and the media to lie about you, to lie about your character, to call you all kinds of names, and because they're covering their tracks and they're liars. And it's just like the same thing that happened to me in a weird way happened to Tory, except his is way worse. But the only way is to keep going. But they are going to put up blocks. They're going to put up roadblocks. They're going to have instigators in our conversations. They're going to destabilize the conversations we have on sessions. They're going to be people who are acting like allies when they're really not. You just have to understand the art of war. That's what it is. But use and study, so this helps you in your life, and realize that there are really bad people in the world, and you may not expect it, but be prepared when it happens. And this is a bigger lesson. But like I said before on other sessions, I'm so proud of the people I've never met that have worked to help free Tory Lanez, and the people that help other people that are innocent and try to get justice. But justice is paid for in this country. This country was founded on using other people's labor. I would call it sex trafficking and rape. The forefathers, it's part of their legacy. So we have to understand what we're living in, where we're living, what the history of the country is, what they're capable of doing. And if you're not awake now, seeing what's happening in California and around different parts of this country, Trump is strategically hitting sanctuary states, but also he's not really hitting, the ICE isn't hitting like Mar-a-Lago, where I'm sure they have a lot of immigrants working, and the people that are Trump's friend. So all I can say is keep going, but don't expect, I know you guys don't expect this to be easy, but all I'm just saying is these people have been doing this stuff for decades, and they've learned from people who've done it for decades. So keep going. I'm not really celebrating the 4th of July because this country is in crisis right now. So I'm just letting you know, be safe out there. By the way, there's people who had fireworks explode in their house. It was like someplace close to LA, and they blew up stuff. Like 5 houses blew up. And one person was killed, another one was burned really bad. So you take these fireworks at your own risk. They're literally bombs, little bombs, and they should only be used by professionals. But again, our country loves the big show. I hurt my back. Sorry if I squirm. I'm like squints or whatever the word is. I don't know what the hell I did. But yeah. Celebrating bombing people is not my idea of a good time. You know what I mean? It really isn't. But I thank you for watching. I hope I've remembered most of this stuff. But yeah, keep up the good work, all the Tory Lanez people. You know, I don't want to be negative because I don't want to influence anything or anyone with like what I see. But you just keep doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Just keep doing the work. Thank you, and free Tory. But a lot of the people I think on Twitter, they're bots. They're paid by Rock Nation. And by the way, I forgot to mention, Ramir, who is going after Jay-Z for a paternity test, it's been going on for over 30 years. The judge said that it's going forward. So I'm very happy for Ramir. And him and Demore have communicated, which is awesome. And so some of the same tactics they've been using on Demore, they've used on Ramir. And allegedly there's another female who says she's the daughter of Jay-Z. So I don't even know if that case is coming forward or not. But I hope that all those people, Ramir, the other female that's supposedly the daughter of Jay-Z, whose mom has like multiple sclerosis, and Demore, I hope they all communicate and join forces. And they'll find that the same tactics they've been using on each individual, they've been using on all three. If not, there might be tons of kids that are Jay-Z's out there that we don't even know about. Some may have been paid off, or some might have been permanently scared and silenced. We don't know. But that case is going forward. So when you see information about Jay-Z, push your side, because I noticed the other day they had so many tweets about Jay-Z, and I was like, what's going on? Is there another case? And it turns out there was. So when they're manipulating the algorithm, you push the Tory Lanez, free Tory Lanez shit. Because they were also trying to say, in the Diddy case, that Tory Lanez got what he deserved, and then someone said, oh, Diddy needs a Tory Lanez, as in he should be stabbed in prison. And the person who said that, I wrote something back and called them a twat after I said what I said about looking at evidence and reading, which they don't like to do. But a lot of these things are bots, because most of those people don't answer me back. But they have so much money to spend on this narrative. I really don't think most people like Jay-Z. A lot of fans don't want to see Jay-Z, and they know what he's been doing, but they are controlling the narrative. So just realize that, and realize it's not necessarily going to be easy, and you're just going to have to keep finding different ways to attack. That is the art of war. Anyway, you guys take care. Take care of yourself. Meditate, exercise. Do what you can to self-care. And I will talk to you later. Free Tory! Bye!